So as we move on in the program, I'm going to have somebody come up here and speak to you. And like I said, this has never been done that I know of since I've been doing this. This is a young man who was 13 years old when his father was killed on the job. Very, very tragic accident happened at ITS in the rail yard. Those of you that remember it will remember that a lot of good things came out of this young man's death. He was registered in 1982. The accident happened in 1995. He was 37 years young. And since then, we've changed the way that trains now come into the yards. We've changed the entire program in how power can come in a yard and out. And I don't think we've had a significant injury since then. So something good did come of it. So as you remember the deaths of these guys that died on the job, remember that almost everything that happens, hopefully some good can come of it. The safety code that we have, many of you will know that the safety code is almost as important as our contract book. The safety code emanated because of a death on the job. That's how it all started. And now the safety code is negotiated every time we negotiate a contract with the committee, the safety committee, and it's no less important than all of the gains that we get contractually, whether it be money, pension, health and welfare. Without our safety code that we have now, I can guarantee you we would have much more tragic injuries and deaths on our waterfront. As you guys all know, we work in a very, very dangerous industry. The second most dangerous industry in the United States to now steel workers. Let that sink in for a minute. We work in the second most dangerous injury. I will guarantee you everyone sitting here today knows someone who's either been killed or seriously injured on the waterfront here. Just recently, a good friend of all of ours, Steve Sajani, lost his life. And because of it, we changed the safety code and we changed the way that we move containers now because of it. And just like Mario and Mario's father, his death was not in vain. So I want to bring up this young man who I happened to meet when he was 15 years old, when I happened to be the coach of the Mary Star High School volleyball boys team. I had no idea then that our paths would cross later. But this young man was the setter, who was the smallest guy on the team. He's not a big hitter, doesn't get all the accolades, but he was one of the toughest competitors on that team. And I remember seeing him then and thinking, this kid has a big heart. And here we are, many years later, and I see him come in as a child of deceased, had no idea that he was Mario Medina Jr. I didn't even know his last name hardly at all when I was coaching him. And now our paths crossed again. And we've become friends. And he's went on to become not only a great union man, but a leader in Local 13. He went on and took on the role as a business agent. And he really embraced that role. And I know he takes safety paramount in his job duties of anything else. Because if anybody knows firsthand about safety, Mario Medina would. So I want to bring up Mario Medina now, and he's going to say a few words. And thank you, Mario.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Greg and the Southern Cal Pensioners Group for continuing to have this thing and what it means, not only to myself, to my family, but to everybody here that has lost somebody on the waterfront. It's paramount important. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to the union that we recognize those that have lost their lives for safety, for what we have today. I'll just touch on a couple of things. When I was 13 years old, as Greg had mentioned, my mom got the phone call that nobody here would want to get, right? Said, hey, your father was involved in an accident, and it's not good. So what do we do as a Longshore family? We all get in the car, drive down to the terminal, and say, hey, what's going on? Well, at that time, we realized that was it. That was the end of it. So that's when I first realized what the ILWU was and what it really meant to me. I was 13 years old. I wasn't too sure what it really was. I knew it was a union that my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather belonged to, but I wasn't very sure what it was. So when I became 18 years old, I got registered as a Class B longshoreman, and the officers, the dispatchers, everybody at that time welcomed me with open arms. They showed me the way, how to be a longshoreman, how to be a union man, and they really, really opened the doors for me. They took me terminal to terminal. They took me to dispatch. They really showed me. They really showed me the way. So further going on, after I became registered for many years, I found interest in which was most paramount to me, which was safety. So at that point, I started doing a little business agent work, and I felt myself very interested in it, and that's where my heart's at. That's currently what I do now. I'm still the night business agent. I've been blessed by the local to be elected 5 times and still hold the position. So what the ILWU means to me is this is my family. Everybody here has somebody on this plaque, and it means a lot. It means a lot to all of us. I see many family members here that have lost somebody, and it's not the way, like Greg had mentioned, nobody wants to be on this plaque, but keep in mind that we've all gained something from somebody being here. We've all gained something. And my father lost his life, so the rest of us can go home safe nightly, right? And a lot of other men have lost their lives, so we can continue the safety of everybody else. So with that being said, I would like to thank, the rest of the officers that are here, international officers, and also the officers that were in office when I came in and have paved the way for me. And God bless the ILWU and each and every one of you. Thank you.